As she echoed that unforgettable hit Mbikoye, it was deeper than just the beautiful voice and tune. The words seemed to come from a spirit that was grieving unimaginable betrayal and loneliness. Cinderella Sanyu is a Ugandan R&B stroke dancehall singer, usually referred to as Cindy, which is also her stage name. Today she comes to the fore about the period of controversy that almost sucked every speck of life from her, and also the worst day of her life. Hello, this is Life Stories. My name is Justine, your host. Welcome to the show. Our special guest today is somebody that gets me using words like perfection whenever I have to talk about her talent. She's been up there, the ladies love to love her, and the guys adore her. But Cinderella Sanyu had a period of her life whereby there was a storm and it was all in the public eye. Find out how she got to fight for what belongs to her and get back to her destiny, where we see her today and do love to love her. This is Life Stories. We're in Bukoto at the home of Madame Cinderella Sanyu, your songstress, among many other things that she does. And here's her life story. How are you, Cindy?
I'm okay.
You're so far away. I don't understand.
Yeah. I did. It's weird. It's the first time I let anyone come to my house from the media. So it's like, I'm confused as well. I'm like, should I have done this or not? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I get the same feeling when I see people on TV all the time and see them in person.
Oh God, don't even say a word. I'm starstruck. So I don't expect you to be.
I am. It's good to see you though.
It's good to see you, Cindy.
I like your show, the way you bring out all those stories. It's very nice of you.
Thanks. I've been planning to
Yeah.
chase you all along.
I'm here now.
Thank you for having us here.
I'm glad.
How
I'm glad you're here. I've been good. I've been okay. I can't complain. Just did my concert and it was successful. I'm happy. Yes, my girl is growing.
So enviable, so enviable. Cinderella Sanyu grew up as the fourth among 7 children. Her family lived in Buya in Kampala, but with the demise of her father, they moved to Mbale district, which not only became her home, but also became her meeting point with the girl group, Blue 3. So Cindy, tell me about your life growing up.
It's a long story. I'm going to try and cut it into bits. As soon as I started to understand, I was living in Tinda Barracks because my mom was working with the police. And then by the time our father died, he died when I was 2. I come from a family of 7 children.
What did your dad die?
He died during the war, the 87 war. So during the whole, shootout, whatever, he got killed.
He was not a soldier?
He was a policeman.
Oh.
Yeah. So you remember back in the day they used to attack the barracks and stuff. So he got killed in that while I was 2. So it's nothing I remember.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that I don't remember. Yeah. So I grew up at the barracks, and then when I was about 10 is when we moved to Mbale. That's when everybody started calling me the chick from Mbale because I auditioned from Mbale. Then,
Why did you move to Mbale?
My mom was working with National Water by then, so she was transferred from her workplace. So we moved to Mbale because of work. And then we moved here after Popstars. When Popstars worked out is when I came to Kampala.
So where did you go to school before we moved to the Popstars? Where did you go to school?
My nursery was in St. Jude kindergarten, in a little bit of primary. I finished up my primary when we moved to Mbale in Nabuyonga Primary. I went to so many schools in my secondary because I was wild. I was so stubborn. I wanted to be out there and be everywhere. And as a child, I always grew up liking friends who were much older than I was. So because I felt like I couldn't relate with my age mates, it was like, it's the normal thing. So I had these older girls and older boys, and I wanted to grow so much. So I changed my school so many times. I was in Ngora High, in Wanale, in Progressive in Bali, and then moved and finished up my secondary here at Aga Khan. Yeah, and that's how far my education got, because after that...
Why was Aga Khan your last one?
Well, I don't know, man, because the other schools were not so high profile. When I joined Blue 3, I had to get into a high profile school. It didn't matter the grades or anything. It just had to be Aga Khan. Yeah, so Steve was like, you know, enrolled me into the school.
Steve Jean, a top talent producer in Uganda, has been acknowledged as a strong force in Cindy's life till this day. On the first day he saw Cindy, before all the fame and people, Steve noticed a diamond among the rocks. He knew exactly where Cindy was headed, and her star took the exact direction. When did you find out about Coca-Cola Pop Stars?
I found it on the radio. It was, you know, it was everywhere. I found it early enough through my mom. And by then I was working with a radio station, so we had their ads and stuff. So I was like, oh, this is a competition. I was making 17. Yeah.
And you were already working at the radio?
Yeah, I started working when I was 15. I wanted to make money really early. You know, I was like, my mom needed some help. I thought, you know, if I helped out with at least my fees, it would be really great. So I started working when I was 15. And then when I joined, my mom sent my tape. You know, I recorded it, but I was lazy to send it because I was like, these kids from Kampala, you know, and then they're going to send the tapes. Who's going to think about me, you know? So I thought, I'm wasting my time. So my mom sent my tape. When she sent it, it was one of the 10 tapes that had been selected that week for reviewing. And then Steve Jean was live on air, and he listened to my recording, and he spoke about me. Then my mom was like, come, Steve Jean spoke about you. Yeah, so she really pushed it. She pushed it, and finally I came to Kampala and did the auditions, and then I didn't win, but I was the best girl, and I came in 3rd position. And I got to record a song called Time to Say Goodbye. And by then videos were not important, so I just did the song, did a couple of gigs, and then, but I wasn't so into it really. So Steve was like, you know what, you go to school, I'll prepare an album for you, you know, and after you're done with school, we'll be over. But when Pop Stars came, I was in my senior 5, and it was a huge opportunity, and no one knew if it would ever happen again. Everyone was like,
what was the, you know, when did Pop Stars come? Like after a year?
Yeah, after a year. No, that 2003 was Real Stars, 2005 was Pop Stars. Yeah, so that was like 2 years later. I was just in my senior 5 by then. So Steve was like, you have to go, you have to go. I missed the first rehearsals because in a way I'd lost my confidence after the first competition. You know, you come from 3,000 people to 500 to 300
and it's so
to
close,
12, and it's so close, and then you lose it. And then they didn't have a really long-term plan for the other people who didn't win. They had this long-term plan for the person who won. So for me, being young and all, it was like I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't know what to do, and I had no team by then. So this second competition, I was scared to go. I missed the first auditions, I missed the second auditions. The third auditions, Steve drove to my place. You should have seen where I was living by then. So Steve Jean drove there. The whole village was like, oh my God, Steve Jean is here. The kids followed him. The men, all the drunkards were following his car the whole time. But he was like, Cindy, dress up and we go. And you know how private he is. But I think even Steve Jean had that thing like, this girl is going to be someone, you know, and I want to help. Because I don't understand why he would drive his very posh car to that village. You know,
do you think we still have those promoters?
Who would do that now? Honestly, I don't think so. Maybe I haven't seen them with that much passion. No. These days, the promoters want to see that you're somewhere. Then they will come to you.
Yeah.
But I was nowhere at that time, you know. But he drove there with all the discomfort. And you know how he doesn't like. He lives a very low-profile life.
Yeah.
But he waited for me while all these people were on his car. And he waited, and I dressed up. My sister gave me these cute clothes, and I got into the car and went for the audition. So all the people who auditioned for Real Stars were there as well. So I just didn't think I had a chance. So I got in, I did the audition, and I was through. I was like, whoa, okay. You know, and then we went to Mombasa, we were 12, came all the way from 12 to 3, and then the final blew 3, so.
They had seen it all together. They shared dreams, pains and gains. Cinderella understandably perceived Blue 3 bandmates as her breath and blood. She had never taken time, though, to figure out if they felt the same way about her until the day of her turning point. Give me a background of how you met Lillian
and Jackie. So first the auditions in Kampala, I saw them, but you know, it was an audition. There was no talking or anything. I just saw them. I thought Lillian was amazing when she did that Mariah Carey song. You know, I was like, whoa. You know,
she used to sound like Christina.
Yeah. And then you can imagine Christina Aguilera doing a Mariah Carey song. She's like blowing it out of proportion. So she did that song. I was like, oh, she blew me away. I was like, that chick is amazing. So in the competition, she started saying hi to me when we went to Mombasa. So we started to talk, going for breakfast together and stuff. And Jackie knew her. So I got to meet Jackie through Lillian. So we started to hang out, you know, in the evenings, go for tea together and stuff. So on the last day, while we were singing together as a team to say bye, we held hands, me and Jackie and Lillian, and we were singing, just, you know, sitting, the three of us. Now the judges said when they saw us holding hands, that's when they made up their mind, they're like, this is a group. You know, we didn't know each other apart from pop stars, nothing at all. I was from Mbale, and these two girls had grown up here. They were more exposed, and you know, it was a very different thing. So, you know, when they saw that, they're like, we can actually make a group instead of having, you know, one person win. So they decided then and there that this is our group. We like them, we're going to make them a group. Then we became Blue 3. Yeah.
How long did the Blue 3 group last?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
It was 3 years. So, this story, I haven't spoken about this in so long.
I know.
Well, yeah, it's a very long story, but I'm gonna say, you know, make it really short. Otherwise, we can talk all day.
No, you don't have to make it really short.
We had been working as Blue 3 for 3 years with no holiday. We would have like a 1 week off, you know, and it was never enough because the hard work was really a lot. You'd need time to totally switch off from music and then come back, and we had never had that time.
Did it pay off? Like
the hard work? Yes, it did, absolutely. And I see that more now than I did back then, you know, because back then all of us just wanted to go home at some point. It was like we just wanted to go be with mom, be with dad, be with sisters.
Did Steve not see that?
He did see that, but what could he do? We had these schedules, you know, and then with the way he works, by the time you get to December, your next year is booked until September. That's the way Steve Jean works. He's constantly planning stuff, you know. So in a way, he couldn't help us much. All he would do is just bring our parents, make sure we call our parents and stuff. As a manager, he tried his best. You understand? He totally outdid himself in trying to help us balance. But so after 3 years, they gave us this holiday of 1 month. And I was so excited after our second our first big album launch. We're like, yes, now we can go. You know, we had done a tour, we had been nominated in the Cora, you know, we're Africa's Destiny's Child. We had our music playing everywhere, including BBC. So after all that hard work, we deserved the holiday. When he told us before that we were going to have a month, I booked my holiday because I had this dream since I was a child to either go to Spain or go to the US. You know, so I was like, okay, I couldn't get a visa to the US by then, but Spain was easier, you know. So I booked my whole thing, paid for my hotel, and got these connections of where I was going to live, who was going to take me around. I thought Nange Kane something, you know. I wanted to amaze myself and be glad.
Which you deserve.
Yeah, after all the hard work, you know. Sometimes people do it, they buy a Porsche car and say, because they sent it, you know. So me, it was that. I wanted to go on holiday in my dream country. So I said, I'm going to Spain. And then Mario thought it was a great idea. He came later and he joined me because by then we were having a long distance relationship. He was living in Italy and I was here. So it was a great time for us. So 10 days into my holiday, they called me and they asked me to come back because there was a show in the north by then and the money was good. So he said, come back and we do this show. But I didn't want to come back. I wanted to finish my holiday. And I felt like I deserved this.
Mario had joined you?
Yes, he had joined me. He had joined me a couple of days later.
Did he stop you from coming back?
No. Mario has always supported my career. You know, career things, he has always been there. But he also felt like I had the right. You know, it was like, if you want to go back, you go back. But if you don't want to go back, it shouldn't stop you from having this good time. So after the 10 days, a couple of days later, not even a week later, they called me and they said I was fired.
No, before you go to that, was there a time when you compromised for one of them.
Yes.
Was there a time when somebody covered in for Lillian,
Yeah.
or when somebody stepped in for
We had those moments.
for Chandiru, for Jackie?
Yeah, we had those moments. I remember our very first year I stood in for Lillian because we were all going through a phase. So was she. In a way, sometimes she'd want to disappear from all the media and she would just run off. And you have a show and you call her and her phone is off and she's not in Uganda.
So you would sing just the two of you?
No, we would say that was me. This is how I would say. I would say we're not doing the show, waiting for her to come back. You know, we need to understand because we are all going through the same. You know, so how we react is different. Yes. So I was like, we just need to understand. You cancel the show. These things happen. You know. So I said, we're not going to fire Lillian because by then the management, the whole management and the sponsors, everyone wanted to let Lillian go at that time. And I felt like it's unfair for all of us to have worked.
They wanted to let her go because they felt like she
wasn't
taking it
serious.
seriously?
Exactly, yes. Because that sounds unserious, you know, like you pick the time for a show to disappear. It does sound very unserious, and no, your phones are off, everything. You disappear and all your friends don't know where you are.
Is this
you know?
the truth?
Yeah, it is the truth. It is the truth. So I stood in for her. I was like, Lina is not leaving the group. You guys just can't fire her like that. You know, we are a group, we just started, and if you let her go, I'll go.
And for Jackie?
We've had moments where Jackie comes to a show on a drip. You know, and you tell her, Jackie, you don't have to do this. And she said, no, I'll be okay. And she gets off the drip, she plasters it and goes on stage. She's like that. She does that even now. For her with work, it's like,
she's like a
this is work. Yes, she'd rather perform and then faint afterwards than refuse to perform, which is different from me and Lillian. If I'm not feeling,
so many other people.
Yeah, for so many other people.
Like her, and I appreciate that.
They are, and I respect that absolutely. I think both of them probably couldn't understand why I can't go back after 10 days, why I had to finish the 1 month. I think they probably did, you know, because we've never had time, even now, to sit and talk about it. So this is just something
you have never talked about it?
No, we've never spoken about it. We talk now, we hang out. They came to my concert, it was amazing. But we've never sat down and said, now girls, what happened? Or say, Cindy, you know, it has never happened. We just, in a way...
Do you crave a time where you could
When we talk about
them?
that, yes. Yes, I do.
Let's
Absolutely.
get back to that after the break. All right, you're still watching Life Stories. This is the amazing story of Cinderella Sanyu. She's told you about the starting point, the square one, the round 2, the round 3, and then we are getting to that point where you have so many questions. They will all be answered after the break. This is Life Stories with me, your host Justine. We'll be right back.